Addy, first you just come back from the recon. What can you tell us about the course? It's not that flat, I think.
It's not flat at all. No, I think only the last more or less 10k going back to Po is quite flat on the big road. But towards that, it's two hard climbs. It's a few tricky descents, and in between it's up and down. And it has a little bit of everything. It's a really nice course in my opinion.
I think it could suit, especially Primoz.
Yeah, it should. It should. I think on the hardest part of the climbs, I think it should be more or less. You can compare, I think, but normally the parts in between suit him really well, and of course the last part, the last 10k, which are really fast. So I think it should be good.
How do you look back on his first week? It has been a complicated start for sure, but so far it has been really good for Primoz. He had never dropped in this really steep climb, typical from La Vuelta, in a really mountain day like in Andorra. It's perfect so far, no?
I wouldn't call it perfect, but what you say is true, and that's the good things, of course. I mean, he showed to be really strong so far. Like you say, he was able always to be with the best on the hardest moments so far. I think from the favorites on the Andorra finish, he did the fastest climb. That's also good. But of course, we ran into a bit of bad luck as well. But taking that into how do you say it? Into account, I think where we are now, it's a really good position.
At the Giro, Primoz finished really exhausted. Has it changed the way he approached this Vuelta? For example, he didn't race at all since end of June, since the start of the Vuelta.
Yes, that's a difference compared to the road towards the Giro. Of course, it's also how things go. I mean, in the winter, he wasn't planned to do the Vuelta. He was planned to do Giro Tour. But it can be a difference, yes. It's hard to say always. It's always, I mean, during the Giro, we always also got the question like, can he hold on? But it's you cannot calculate. You know, it's how things go, and in the end, you know. But you're right. The main difference is that he didn't race since the nationals actually, which was only of course one day, and that was already like 2 weeks after the Giro, even more I guess. So he prepared well in the end. He had really a good time off after Giro. He prepared well again with altitude, and the difference is he started then without a race. So we hope that that he can keep this level. The good thing is that he showed to be really good in the first days, which of course is a risk after that such a long time without a race, and it was like really full gas from day one. So that's the good thing, and I think the way I see it now and how I look to Primoz, that for the moment he's not getting worse, and I think he's now a little bit better than the first weekend.
Just the last question. Today, what is a goal in terms of numbers, to the time to take over Quintana, Valverde, and Miguel Angel Lopez?
You cannot predict. You can guess, but I think goals should be measurable. And the goal for us today is to prepare as good as possible and to do the things in the best way possible. Primoz has to push as hard as possible, and then we see in the end what the result is. But we don't have a goal like, okay, today we shoot that amount of time.
Yes, I guess.
No, I don't guess. I never guess for TTs. We see this evening what the results will be.
Thank you very much. And best of luck.
Are you free for an interview?
Of course I am.